Now we've learned about the hook and we've learned about the yarn. So now let's figure out how to put them together. If you don't know which size hook to use for the size yarn, just look on the ball band like we talked about in the last video. Look for the gauge where the hook is and then look for the size. This says this yarn should use a G hook. I know that I crochet a little bit tight, so I'm going to use an H hook with mine. You can definitely use a G hook if that's what yours calls for, or you can use a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, it just depends. So I'm going to use an H hook. To get the yarn onto the hook, we need to use what's called the slip knot. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see the process. We're going to pull out a little bit of yarn. This is about 6 inches. Take the short piece and wrap it around 2 fingers. My short piece is over here. Now, loop around the back and pull a little piece of the short loop through. You don't want to pull the whole piece through to make a full knot. You just want to pull a little bit through to make a slip knot. So just pull a little bit through. I'm pulling the long piece and holding onto the loop. And there is our knot. The loop is here. Here's my short piece. If I pull the short piece of yarn that's dangling down, it slips closed. That's why it's called a slip knot. I can pull it back open by pulling on the loop, and I can slip it back closed by pulling the short end. Now to get the slip knot onto the hook, you simply insert the hook into the loop. Make sure your loop is around the shank of the needle. And then pull the short end around the loop. That's going to determine your size. So you want it around the shank, not up here in the crook, not down here on the grip, right on the shank. You don't want it too tight. If you pull it too tight, then it's not going to move very well. If it's too loose, it could fall off the hook. So you just want it barely tight around the neck or around the shank. It'll move up and down freely, and you can pull the loop through if you have to, which we will do in the next step.